Three individuals stood on the mountain, gazing strangely down below. They had never witnessed a horde of zombies circling in place before. It seemed that this was the group of zombies tracking Rosita. Daryl, experienced in wilderness survival, found these zombies to be oddly behaving, but he knew that finding Eugene was their top priority. The three of them can only go around the side of the zombie horde. Little did they know that as they left, one of the zombies lifted its head. 10 minutes later, they managed to skirt around the horde and were walking on the plains on the opposite side. Suddenly, Daryl halted, signaling the others to stay silent. He listens carefully and tells them that the zombie horde is coming their way. The others were puzzled, as they saw nothing. Daryl explains that it's the wind that carries the sound over, something he's learned from surviving in the wilderness. Immediately after, Daryl threw an alarm clock out and took a detour with the two of them from a farther location. 10 minutes later, the zombie horde reached the place where they had just been. Shockingly, in a brief period, the number of zombies had doubled. The zombies were now heading towards Daryl's alarm clock, which was the opposite direction of Daryl's tracking, so they didn't give it a second thought. Back at the hilltop.
Riders! Riders are coming! Riders are coming!
Upon hearing the news, all the farmers rushed inside the walls, fearing a terrifying attack. Only it was Michonne and the others. The newcomers didn't know Michonne, so they thought she was a terrorist. Luke and the others in the car look out over the farmland. It looked like a very nice place, and their fears had been misplaced. Still, they felt it was important not to get too excited in case their hopes were dashed. Soon, they arrived outside the walls. Thinking they were uninvited guests, Tara and the others rushed out, brandishing their weapons. The woman, being a long-standing member of the kingdom, naturally knows Michonne, but none of them welcomed this woman now. Michonne arrived at the gate with a horse-drawn carriage and waited. Magna kept her companions at the ready. Magna thought there must be someone on the wall with a bow and arrow pointed at them, ready to shoot them. As soon as she had finished speaking, the woman didn't say a word, just looked at Michonne. Michonne realized she was asking them to hand over their weapons. Michonne didn't resist. She threw her knife and gun on the ground. The others followed suit. Afterward, the gate opened, allowing them entry. The Hilltop's treatment of Michonne was that of the most familiar stranger. Tara, facing Michonne, didn't even muster a smile. Michonne then realizes that members of her community have been keeping a lot of things from her. Tara also exclaimed that it was a really special day, with old friends coming in. Tara went on to say that when they leave tomorrow, they can take their weapons with them. However, the decision regarding the other newcomers joining would be made upon Jesus' return. As the group dispersed, Michonne looked into the distance with a smile. Spotting an old friend, unexpectedly, Carol didn't respond and instead turned to walk back into the house. After a while, Siddiq approached Carol, exchanging greetings and a hug. Carol simply greeted Michonne. Even the new team of 5 were more enthusiastic than Michonne. After brief introductions on both sides, Siddiq led them to where they would stay, leaving an awkward situation behind. Unable to avoid it, the two women engaged in a conversation for a while, mainly discussing the children's growth. Michonne expressed that she had received Ezekiel's plea for help, but their community had many concerns, apologizing for not aiding them. Carol, not wanting to dwell on the matter any longer, once again suggested that Alexandria Safe Zone join the upcoming marketplace. Before Carol could finish, Michonne vehemently refused, stating that she wouldn't send anyone to the kingdom. Since the incident with Jocelyn, Michonne wanted to focus solely on her own community. Carol's disappointment was evident, seeing her former friend develop in this way. After a while, Carol prepared to leave, her eyes welling up with tears at the thought of being separated from her son. After saying her goodbyes, Carol left the hilltop where she was sure Henry would be properly trained. In the medical room, Rosita woke up, worried about Eugene's condition as she had been unconscious for a day. Michonne reassured Rosita that someone had gone to find Eugene. Rosita's expression turned to panic, and she insisted that they needed to find them. The region was now engulfed in heavy fog, severely limiting visibility. Drawing on his tracking experience, Daryl finally located the shed that Rosita had described. His dogs swiftly picked up Eugene's scent and led them to a pile of hay, where they discovered a hidden trapdoor. Jesus opened the door and saw that Eugene was in there, and he looked like he was in a terrible state. Without hesitation, they pulled him out. Eugene recounted his escape and his dislocated knee. Daryl tried to reset Eugene's joint here, but Eugene refused. Eugene urges them to get out of the area in a panicked tone, convinced that the zombie horde tracking them will be back. The three were baffled by his words. Zombies that could track? It sounded like a fairy tale. Seeing Eugene's distressed state, They decided to get him back first and discuss it later. Suddenly, a commotion outside indicated that the zombies had indeed returned. Strangely, the zombies seemed to be gradually surrounding the area. The three of them can only take Eugene and leave quickly from the side and return the way they came. 5 minutes later, they had exited the house. Aaron was in charge of the rear. Despite their fast pace, the horde of zombies continued to pursue relentlessly. Eugene, despite enduring pain, was brought to a three-way intersection. At this point, they realized that these were the same zombies they had encountered earlier. It was eerie. Could zombies truly possess intelligence and tactics? Eugene hypothesized that the zombies might be evolving. Daryl immediately refuted the idea as nonsense, and Jesus was also skeptical. However, Eugene argued that if the dead could rise and walk, what else was impossible? Maybe they're slowly gaining memories. Otherwise, why would they have to destroy their brains to kill them? Neither of them had any reason to refute at that moment. Indeed, what could be more fantastical than the reanimation of the dead? At that moment, Aaron caught up and informed them that the zombies were already trailing behind them. They needed to reach the horse stash and leave quickly. Eugene understood he was a burden and suggested they leave him behind, but there was no way the trio would abandon him. After all, they had come to find him. Daryl decided to draw the zombies away down another path, allowing them to escape and rendezvous at the hilltop. Soon, the horde reached the crossroads. Daryl crouches on the roof of an abandoned caravan in the other direction. As long as he can attract the zombies to come this way, he lit a string of firecrackers and tossed them onto the road. The explosive noise naturally attracted the zombies' attention, with Daryl's dog barking fervently. But soon Daryl's expression freezes. The horde had only moved a few meters in his direction before abruptly shifting course. It was eerily strange. Could Eugene's hypothesis be true? Had the zombies truly gained intelligence? If that were the case, Jesus and Aaron were in danger. Daryl decided to detour and provide assistance. Meanwhile, Jesus and his group continued running, but the visibility was extremely poor due to the fog. Coupled with carrying Eugene, they couldn't maintain a fast pace. Peering into the dense mist, Jesus could vaguely discern the shapes of the zombies. It seemed the horde had caught up. They had no choice but to keep moving with Eugene. After a while, they discovered a gap in a wall. Planning to enter here and find another exit, they hoped this maneuver would lose the pursuing zombies. As they stepped inside, the zombies were right behind them. The manor was like a maze under the fog. Luckily, Jesus spotted a door and rushed to open it. He exerted all his strength, but the iron door was stuck in the mud and wouldn't budge. With no other option, they had to attempt to get Eugene down from the wall. The two of them struggled as they lifted Eugene, but he was simply too heavy. Weighing over 200 pounds, it seemed impossible to get him out. Meanwhile, the distant roars of the approaching zombies grew louder. Unable to leave Eugene behind, they stood ready with their weapons, preparing to confront the zombies. Fortunately, the breach in the wall limited the zombies' entry speed, and their numbers weren't too high at the moment. Aaron has been practicing with Jesus for more than 2 years. His skills are not the same as back then, and he can kill zombies with ease. Within minutes, they managed to clear the area, but their expressions remained grim as the sound of zombies echoed throughout the estate. Just as Eugene began to panic, a familiar voice called out to him. Michonne had arrived. Rosita told her about the horrible zombies, and Michonne found the place based on the description. Eugene was overjoyed to see Michonne and hurried to assist in opening the door. However, the door remained difficult to push open. 2 more people arrived to help. In fact, they are actually righteous people. Plus, it was the right time to show off, so they wouldn't let go of this opportunity. With their efforts, they managed to open a narrow gap in the door. Jesus instructed Aaron to help Eugene out first and stayed behind to hold off the zombies. Aaron didn't hesitate. Jesus exhibited incredible agility, easily dealing with the few zombies that approached him. 3 minutes later, the others had made it outside. Aaron shouted for Jesus to catch up. Upon hearing Aaron's call, Jesus moved towards the entrance.
Jesus! Come on!
Where you do not belong.
The crowd outside the door is furious. They don't care about the weird situation. They rush in to rescue Jesus. A few more zombies rush in with knives. Suddenly, Daryl caught up. The zombies coming in from behind are also fighting with Michonne and the others. However, it was a one-sided massacre. Their combat skills were weak, and in less than a minute, they were all eliminated. Aaron approached Jesus, his face filled with sorrow. As he gazed at his lifeless body, Daryl also found out that the back of the zombie's head had some stitching marks. Daryl used a knife to cut it open and then turned it around. It was a mask. These zombies were actually people in disguise. No wonder the zombie horde is tracking them, so there's a mix of these freaks in there. Suddenly, voices came from around them again, planning their intention to surround them. It seemed the masked individuals had accomplices. The zombies are showing up in the fog. These perverts are mixed in. It's impossible to tell these perverts apart just by looking at them. Daryl quickly noticed that almost all of the Skinners had knives in their hands. Due to the dense fog, discerning details was difficult. Their best option was to retreat with Jesus's body for now. Daryl secured the door bolt before they left. But after they left, Luke was up early the next morning. He couldn't remember how long it had been since he'd slept so well. Life here was truly blissful. Tara had a frown on her face. Jesus and the others had been out all day. Michonne and the others hadn't returned from their support. They are worried that something has happened. Tara decided to dispatch 4 individuals in 2 groups to scout for their traces. Now there's one more to go. At this point, Luke expressed his willingness to help. Feeling the need to contribute, Luke's behavior also won everyone's favor. Alden and Luke formed one team for the mission. Enid stepped up to remind her boyfriend, Alden, to stay safe. Yes, Enid and Alden were now a couple, back with Michonne's group. They had temporarily escaped the zombies. However, they were puzzled by who these deranged people were, disguising themselves in such a grotesque manner. It's a bunch of crazies. They soon arrived at the horse stash and their next task was to return to the hilltop and inform everyone about the situation, and then they were on their way. The mood wasn't very good because of Jesus' death. Daryl looked behind at the strange Yumiko and Magna. Michonne explained that Judith had discovered them and vouched for their trustworthiness. Now, Michonne herself was vouching for them. Their actions in aiding the group the previous night had earned Michonne's complete trust. Michonne has decided that if the hilltop won't take them in, she'll take them back to the Alexandria safe zone. Daryl understood Michonne's initial reluctance to take in strangers, given his experience as a witness to the Jocelyn incident, an incident that almost cost Michonne Judith and the baby in her womb. Michonne expressed her gratitude, acknowledging that everyone thought Rick was dead, but Daryl had been tirelessly searching for him for 5 years. He had also helped her during her pregnancy and in saving Judith. She was grateful for everything. As the group continues on, the dog barks furiously, heralding the appearance of the zombies. Are there any Skinners amongst them? Daryl decides to give it a try just to find out. Zombies staggered on a wooden bridge. Daryl approached the head of the bridge, raising his crossbow.